Tonight's coverage presented by Asphalt Racing Network. Of course, sponsored by Decals Paint and Photoshop for all your iRacing paint needs. That is your one-stop shop. And of course, Young Headed Collectibles for all your 124, 164, and 118 diecast needs. Be sure to follow us on Whatnot. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back for another week here for the round of 12. American Stock Car Racing League takes on Talladega. This should be a fun one tonight. Of course, as always, qualifying going right now. Drivers on track. Looks to be about a 27 car field here today, so it is going to be a pretty nice field for me and the man that loves to shout out the 33 as much as he possibly can. That's Blake Sharrow.
How's it going? Excited to be back up in the booth again for another week of ASCRL, man. The playoff, second week. It's going to be a fun one.
Should be a good one here tonight. Of course, as always, American Stock Car Racing League really doesn't disappoint here. It's been a pretty incredible season so far. I don't think it's going to get... I say I don't know how it's going to top itself on a weekly basis, and it consistently tops itself on a weekly basis. So, I mean, I feel like we're still going to see that again tonight, of course. You know, now looking at this round's playoff bracket, Holloway and Ball advanced into the round of 8. There's still 6 spots to go. Poston right now, +9. Hurt, +3. Greer, +2. Gibson, +1. Hancock and Riddle, both even. Riddle at the cut line, just behind us. Pickle Simmer, -3. Rhodes, -5. Banky, -7. Taylor, -10. And Horst, the end, -14. Of course, Final Four and championship race still to go through those. But now still looking to see who are the next 6 drivers that are going to advance themselves into the round of 8.
Yeah, I mean, this is the week where it's put up or shut up, man. You got a lot of guys under that line trying to make it to the round of 8. And, you know, back to when we were speaking about it last week in the week 1, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, that was a big race for them, you know. So if you finish at the back, you don't have to, you know, you don't have to climb this week pretty much to give yourself a chance to even get in the top 8. So that's why each of these weeks are very important in the playoffs. You got to, you know, you don't have to win them, just have a consistent finish and get as much points as possible. So you have, you know, a guy like Binky, a dude that we know we like to see do well. You know, he didn't have that great of a finish last week, so he's going to have a higher mountain to climb to even getting a shot at getting to the top 8.
Man, you got to think tonight, last round of 12 race. This is where 8 survive and 5 go home. Of course, this just became the most dramatic night in ASCRL history. Of course, you've got a controversial playoff win. The regular season king suddenly vulnerable. Former favorites collapsing. Underdogs exploding at the perfect time. And what we call the best of the rest bracket that suddenly matters big. Looking at that bracket right now, you are seeing all the drivers that are practically fighting each other to make it through the next round. Kilday and Bye. Matthews, Corbett, Guerrero and Half, Green and Rainey, Rodman and Wilson, Hess and Leach, Yates and Schrom, and Alessi and Breland all on the bracket this week.
Yeah, it's always fun to have a little side bracket. You know, it gives the other guys something to race for. Just, you know, just so they're not left in the dust after the playoffs start. They all have their own little tournament to race in, and it's just one of those things. It's a race within a race. You have, you know, 2 races going on when you're trying to battle for the, you know, the next round of the playoffs. Then you have another one when you're trying to go head to head in the first round of the second bracket. So it's gonna be very fun tonight. It always is. They do a good job putting this together every week. The drivers always do well. There's always some hiccup sometimes. It's just what happens on these big tracks. But these guys do a really good job each week, and I'm sure once again we'll see some good racing.
I mean, of course, I feel like this would be everything you could ever ask for in a playoff bracket here tonight. Even the guys that aren't comfortable or racing for a playoff are still racing for something big at the end of the night. Of course, looking at our biggest things to watch tonight, of course, that's going to be the emotion. Because now drivers are desperate. Rivalries are starting. Tempers are rising. And trust is going to disappear. Of course, this is when playoff racing becomes legendary, as always, where you have to start questioning every move you make. Not only off the track, but of course when it comes to not only on the track, but of course off the track as well when it comes to your pit road movements, your adjustments, if you are making, spring offset changes based off of your short pitch strategies, your long pitch strategies. I mean, yes, fixed setups, but you still can make a few adjustments to your springs, which can make difference in the corners under different loads. Of course, it's super speedway racing, so we shouldn't have many adjustments from drivers, if not at all. Some guys aren't technical; they just get in the car and do what they can to drive that car to a good finishing position. But I mean, of course, still a lot that's going to have to go into the progression of the race tonight from the green flag all the way to the checkered.
Yeah, for sure, Tyler. Well, you hit it on when it comes to the setups, and they're not just the fixed setups, but the garage adjustments. There's not really much you can do to change your car on these tracks. It's different when you're doing the adjustments, at Bristol or Dover at these other smaller tracks. But here, there's not much I think you could really do to give yourself a faster car. There's ways to change the handling a little bit, maybe to keep straighter lines in the draft. Other than that, it's really just a preference rather than it being a huge adjustment for a faster car. But yeah, and then you hit on with the pitting. It's going to be very important for these guys to pit together if they want to, especially on these green flag runs. Cautions is different; you don't have to worry about it. But on these long green stretches, man, you got to make sure you're communicating with your guys or whoever's around you. Pay attention in front of you. If you're getting close to wanting to pit, and you see guys in front of you pit, you just go ahead and go. You don't want to risk it a couple laps later, just in case you have nobody around you to get a good pack going back on the track.
The biggest question will be answered in just a few minutes. Looks like about 3 drivers still doing qualifyings now. If not, qualifying should be finished actively. I think the only person that is still running right now, finishing his last lap, will be Corey Rainey in the 4 car. I think everybody else is finished. Josh Ball going back into the pits. Sam Taylor seems to be slowing down. So, yeah, we are literally moments away from a great race here. Once again, as the white flag is waving from the flag stand for qualifying, as we get ready to move over to our grid. Of course, 100 laps as always. 50 laps will separate the stint 1 and stint 2 race here today. So, of course, what you're formerly known as stages, we will finish with only 2 stages of racing. If you want to call it 1 and 3, 2 and 3, whatever you may be. That is how we are going to do it. We've been doing it all season. Gives these drivers a little break in the meantime. And, of course, gives that pit. Now, remember, it's about 15, maybe 18 laps of gas if you can stretch it in that draft. So that will make a difference as well when it comes down to the grand scheme of things. You're going to see multiple pit stops during green flag runs, praying that we don't see many cautions today. But, it's a super speedway. It is practically inevitable.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The 2 words, or I guess the 3 words you always hear every big track is the big one. And sometimes there's a lot of big ones. You really just hope it's the big one on the last lap, how it usually works. But I would definitely like to see these guys get some green flag runs so we actually see some pitting strategies. There's not really pitting strategies when you're during cautions much. So I would love to see some long, 30, 40 lap stints or full stage. That'd be lovely. Just to see what pitting strategies these guys have.
Now, of course, drivers all getting ready. Pace truck sitting on that front stretch. Drivers just behind the start finish line. We're going to go ahead and pop up the grid. Big fields here today as they start getting ready to roll. 30 cars, yes, 30 cars here today, taking on the last round of 12 as the bells are tolling in the background. Sam Taylor gets the pole today. Sam Taylor will be starting off in first place. Dwayne Corbett in second. Then we have Christian Rhodes. I don't know why it's Christian P, but Christian Rhodes in third. Daniel Holloway qualifying in fourth. Vicente Guerrero rounding out your top five. Just outside of the top five is going to be Josh Ball in sixth. Tyler Green in seventh. Les Levy in eighth. Eric Radaman in ninth. Then, of course, Joshua Riddle in 10th.
Yeah, at 11, we got Adam Kilday sitting at 12, Daniel Half, Alan Hess in 13th, Tyler Hurt in 14th, Adam Strum in 15th, ASR's very own Corey Rainey, Todd Poston at 17th, Dalton Gibson at 18th, Spencer Till at 19th, and Dylan Picklesimmer rounding out the top 20.
Outside of our top 29, it's going to be Gary Breland in 21st, Russ Hancock in 22nd, Ethan Horst in 23rd, James Mandarood will be in the 24th spot, Brandon Matthews in 25th, Matt Banky in 26th, Matthew Wilson, Kevin Leash in 27th, Stephen Alessi in 28th, Matthew Wilson in 29th, and rounding out your 30 car fields here in the back, in 30th place, is going to be Trevor Yates.
Here we go. And I meant to say ARN. I get mixed up with all these ASCRL, all these ARN very own Corey Rainey. So we'll be watching for you starting out in the 16th.
Now, as always, in the restart zone on the flag man for the first restart. Green flag now officially out. First laps of the first elimination race for the playoffs now underway.
Man, this is so exciting, man, watching you guys go across for the first time and for a long race. I hope we get clean, and I know we'll see some good racing.
Blimp cam looking beautiful as ever. You're seeing the field here for the first lap. We're going to keep it on the blimp cam so you can see everybody in their progressions trying to make some moves, if not any at all. Just trying to stay comfortable right now. The entire field in camera shot. Looking really good so far. We do have 3 wides already, about the third, fourth line. Going hard so far. Driver's doing a really good job to try to keep this pace. Now, Blake, the biggest question tonight, where are we going to see that run? You know, for the last few weeks, last week, of course, on ARN being another speed week with practically Talladega across the board, that top line really didn't seem to get the momentum. We're seeing 4 cars try to do it now. But it's really been that secondary line to get the lead, but not be able to hold it for long until you have enough cars stack up on the bottom side. But, you know, that bottom side as well has not been making much of a run to kind of counteract that mid line. So which line do you feel might actually be the winning line here tonight?
Man, that's a tough one. You know, we see it change week in and week out for the most part. I'm going to go with, since it's at Talladega, I'm going to run with that middle line. Or I guess the top line, you'd say, if it's 3 wide, I still like that middle line. It's just here, I feel like that's just a sweet spot to stay in that middle lane. Not that the low lane can't do the same thing. We've seen the low line compete just as well, but I feel just for the most part, that middle lane is usually the go-to. Just like we seen last week for a while, we seen Pickle Simmer and his teammates just run that middle line to death, and it worked out well for the until closer to the end when the race kind of filled it out for them and they dropped back. But yeah, usually that middle line's probably the go-to for Talladega.
Now, might have a little bit of confusion for the folks at home looking at our tower. A lot of names just have P in parentheses. Those are your playoff drivers. So Christian Rhodes in the number 1 tonight. Joshua Riddle in the 12. You're also going to have Dalton Gibson in the 17, Matt Banky in the 35, and Ethan Horst in the 15. So if you see a P, that is the other 6 drivers fighting for this spot here tonight. It's going to be tricky for these guys, though. Right now, Christian Rhodes is locking himself in if the race were to end now. Of course, it's only 4 laps in, so that's not going to happen. But, of course, Christian Rhodes right now, the highest out of the other 6 playoff drivers in 4th place right now, just trying to go through progressions, trying to stay in draft, trying to comfortably work everything out right now. That one car on the top side. Of course, pretty early for people to start trying to dart in between cars and work their way up the field, but it's inevitable. We're going to see it happen at one point in time. We're still seeing that top line all the way up to the wall, try to make some progression. They're holding on pretty strong, but, that's because they have a low line and a mid-lines draft, kind of pulling up that track and giving them a little bit more of a run. If this was just a two-lane run right now, the top side really wouldn't have much. But it is early on. It is Dega, and this is where dreams are made or broken. So now we're going to have to watch and see a little bit of a tough run there for the top side. The leaders kind of fell off a little bit after making some wall contact. You just saw it. They've lost about 7 positions there, and now they're going to have to work all that back up.
Yeah, for sure. Back on Christian Rhodes in that one car, he has done well this season, and he's in a really good spot to advance for to the next round of 8 for start next week. So his game plan is don't be aggressive, in my opinion. If I was in his car, in his shoes, I would not be aggressive. I would let the race come to me. I would just stay in my line. I'd sit in the back the whole time if I need to. We know how the wrecks go. But just don't be too aggressive. Don't try to hop in and, cut somebody off. You don't want to give yourself a bigger chance to wreck because you're in a comfortable spot. And if something were to happen, that could kick them out. So you don't need this top 5. You just get you a good, solid top 10 finish, and that should be enough for them to get to that second round, round of 8 for next week.
Now, of course, we will be tracking a few drivers here tonight who are outside of that line that really need to dial it in and have a really good race on points if they want to get themselves in. One is the 343 of Russ Hancock right now, currently sitting in 16th place. Another one as well is going to be Joshua Riddle in the 12, who is now currently in 23rd.
Yeah, he's going to want to try to hop up there a little bit more. He's fighting to try to hop in there. He's going to have to get a really good finish. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, there are stage points, correct, for lap 50?
Yes, I believe they do hand out the points for the first 50 and the last 50.
Yeah, that's what makes it more important to just race hard, especially in his position. Like I said, with Christian Rhodes, you're in a good spot right now. Don't do nothing stupid. Simple. For Josh Riddle, do something stupid but safely. You got to be aggressive at the end of the first 50 and the last 50, because right now you're tied for, I believe I don't think I have the point settings in front of me that's up to date, but he's sitting second to last in the points.
Just tuning in right now. This is our bracket. The guys we're talking about are under that red line. Rhodes right now back out by 5.
Gotcha.
Pickle
Yeah,
Simmer out
the sim
by
race prep
3.
is not updated.
Now, Pickle Simmer's
Um,
out by 3. He's sitting in 7th right now. So, I mean, he does have a good run right now to, try to make something shake if possible. Now, two things that we're kind of all too familiar with up here. Pickle Simmer and Rhodes normally kind of get into those early race situations. Speaking of situation, caution out now. First caution of the night here seems to be coming from Leash, Riddle, Hancock, and Matthews. So a playoff driver
oh,
already in the first wreck and somebody chasing that playoff spot as well.
yeah, we were just talking about riddles. You don't want to. It's too early to get involved with these. Trying to get a eye on what happened. Looks like the 3 came up into the high line and bumped the 80 in the front while yeah, and he hit the wall, and that kind of just caused a pile up. 11 hit the 343 that eventually got into a riddle. Um, yeah, you don't want to see that happen that early. It's just one of those things that you got to be aware for. Uh, it's very unfortunate for Riddle in that playoff spot. I'm trying to see if there's any other playoff members involved with that, and it doesn't look like there is. So it looks like he was the only guy in the playoffs that was involved in that wreck.
Yeah, one that is practically pretty good on points right now with just a good finish that could really solidify the run. Already having to most likely take a fast repair as that was a pretty nasty wreck. I mean, Kevin Leash involved in that wreck. Looking at his perspective, he got spun out to the inside. Good Lord, 343. I mean, looking at Hancock's
Yeah.
damage, he dead stopped, hit that wall, and shot back up on the track. That is an airborne, ladies and
Uh
gentlemen.
oh.
First one of the night as I drop my keyboard. Excitement, pure excitement up here. That is 150% an airborne. I do not even need to see that.
Yeah, that was and correction. Yeah, Russ Hancock was another playoff guy. I mentioned just one. I think
Oh,
he's
there's
already
two
went to the
airbornes.
pit. Oh,
343 and the 77.
yeah, 77. Wow.
Knocking two off at once. I love it. I love it. Of course, the long line. I guess Brianna Laurent must be in chat. Probably too early for her. She
Yeah,
missed
she
them.
usually gets in a little later in the second stage, I
Well,
believe.
she missed them. Two airbornes already for the night. Counter will be up when the tower goes back up. Of course, 25 laps ad-free here, so you don't have to worry about an ad break on the channel. As we always say, if you are subscribed to Amazon Prime, you get one free sub a month. If you
A
haven't
free
used
sub a
that
month.
sub,
That's nice.
you can use it on the channel. I mean, it is nice. Yeah, it's the perks of Twitch being owned by Amazon. They give you that one free sub a month. You don't have to worry about any
Hmm.
ads during, before, or even on replays. I think it skips pre-roll ads as well if you go back and watch any other event that ARN covers here throughout the week. Speaking of live coverage for ARN, schedule up on your screen now what you're watching on Mondays, American Stock Car Racing Leagues. Right time, ARCA Series on Wednesdays, the Truck Series on Thursdays, and of course the NARIS Truck Series on Fridays. Saturdays is the farewell tour for the Gen 6 cars. We are off this Friday for trucks, but we will be live for the All-Star Open and the All-Star Race for NARS.
Deal. You already paying for Amazon Prime, and you get you a free subscription for Twitch. Man, like, you get 5 nights of racing with ARN. You might, if I feel like most people do have some type of Amazon subscription, so especially the Prime, So yeah, definitely use that thing here, and you got 5 excellent broadcasted races each week. That's Man, you're a busy man on here, Tyler.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That's what
Man,
makes it worth it, man. You subscribe, and then you got a full week of just kicking back and watching some racing.
that is 20 races a month of ad-free
Man,
content until we hit off-season for few. I know right time is dwindling down on the season right now. We are in the playoffs. I think we have, what, 4 weeks left, Blake, for both series right now?
We actually haven't extended, because last week we had iRacing problems on Thursday for
Oh, yeah, so we are
the
extended
first
1
week.
week for
So
Argo.
yeah, and or truck Arca's fine. It's
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
truck. So we still have 6 weeks left. So it gets extended by 1 week. So we pretty much had a bye this past week. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Dega will start next week for week 1.
I mean, Naris, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Naris is a 36-week schedule. Our
Gosh.
championship race will end on December 19th, if I'm not mistaken. So you got enough racing action here. You'll be able to see about a season or two of ASCRL in right time to a single season of Naris. And of course,
Yeah, that's a lot.
it's a lot of racing, man.
Yeah, dude, that's why people need to tune in, use that subscription, or if you don't got Prime, just on. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but
I think it's $5.
I would definitely. Oh, $5, yeah.
I think it's
Dang,
like
that's
$5.99
yeah,
a
man.
month.
People need to subscribe and watch some racing every week. 5 nights a week, you get to watch a good race, and you get to listen to Tyler, and occasionally you get to listen to me, the country hick from the south, and sometimes Mickey too. So
Yeah, Mickey, not here with us today, celebrating his 8-year anniversary with the
yeah.
missus. So shout out to
Boy,
you.
what a year so far, man. He has a grandchild. He's already got his anniversary, man. What a nice little start of the first half of the year for him.
It's a great year for him, man.
Yeah. Congrats, Mick.
Of course, pace car
Pace
going off this
car's
time
coming on.
by. We have chewed up at least 2 minutes of just pure pacing.
And then a bunch of yapping from us.
Hey, it's what we're paid to do.
Yes, sir.
Now back in the restart zone on the one car on the bottom side. That was a big gap
Whoa.
the 9 gave there. That is a huge jump from the top 3 cars. They are going to pull away for a little bit now as the green flag drops on lap 13. But of course, it is Dega. It's a super speedway track. They're going to catch back up really quick. But right now, Christian Rhodes in the lead. Pickle Simmer in second. Tyler Green in third. Those two, well, at least Pickle Simmer needs a really good race right now.
Yeah, I feel like they heard us in the chat about 15 minutes ago when we were speaking about the best line for this track, and they said, "Watch this" on the lower line on that restart. Because man, they shot out like a gun, man. That was really nice. You can see the guys behind them still staying in pace. I'm sure they'll catch up. That's just how it works here. You got to have a little bit more than just 3, in my opinion, to outrace a big group. But man, yeah, this ain't the first time we've seen Rhodes and Pickle Simmer up here pushing each other. We've seen it a lot each week, and this is big for both of them.
Of course, your regular season champ right now, Daniel Holloway, who we're following temporarily. He is sitting in 7th. 21, Hershey Kisses on the outside line. He's second in that line up top. No, 2 cars going to shoot up to the outside. There's going to be a fight for the lead here at some point in time. Rhodes going up to block that top side. Wise decision there. Or excuse me, the bottom side. Oh no, he was on the bottom. What am I talking about? He goes up to block the top side. He tried to shoot back down low. But I mean, right now, a must-win situation. Not really in the balance for him. You know, he does look pretty comfortable right now to possibly push it without the win. Of course, the win will solidify it. You know, he's only sitting, I guess maybe a must-win for him. I mean, it's -5 out. He's gonna have to beat Hancock and Riddle. Now, with Riddle being in that first wreck, it's not going to be that hard to keep points on him. You know, only being back out by 5. But you're also having to battle your teammate of Pickle Simmer, who is 2 points better than you. Now, that 2 points really won't make a difference as long as Pickle Simmer can stay up behind his teammate. You know, it'll only negate 1 point difference to Rhodes. So I guess, you know, Rhodes really in a must-win situation here to 100% solidify himself, because you know, it would have to have Pickle Simmer being wrecked out or falling all the way in the back of the pack for him to really make up points. So, pretty tough here. Especially elimination race, having to fight your own teammate for a position and not praying on his downfall, even though you're praying for his downfall.
Yeah, for sure. Technically, he doesn't have to fight him, in my opinion. You know, when you got your stage points, you know, there's not just one spot. They could kick people out. You know, they could both have a good stage finish, top 3, top 5 stage finish for both of them, and also have a top 5 finish for both of them. They could jump Riddle, Hancock, Gibson. There's when the playoffs start, you know, it resets everything except for the top 2 that's already advanced, and I believe third place gets a little boost. But other than that, man, it's free game. Like, you know, you got Horse, he's 14 points back. That happened in one race. Yeah, here comes a caution. That happened in one race. So like anything can happen, you know. So necessarily, I don't think Pickle Simmer and Rhodes have to fight. If I was them, I would just lock together and just, you know, on these races, it's good to have teammates, you know, around you. And if I was them, I would just stay together and try to control this race for the benefit of the both of them.
We got a smoking car on the backstretch. Not a good situation there. A lot of drivers were able to make it through that. Comfortable, clean, and fine. Of course, Horst making it through it has Teal, Guerrero, Strom. But unfortunately, someone had to take some damage there. Now, of course, going back to the wreck here. That was Corey Rainey up top. That was where it initially started from. Seemed just like a bad bump, and got him and Holloway. Rainey up into the wall there. Got slammed by the Tide car behind him, which has caused them to smoke. And a lot of cars going off track trying to avoid it. Too hot coming back up on the field. Sending more cars up into the wall. I mean, it was just a mess
Yeah,
there.
yeah, they were 3 wide for a quick second, and only using up 2 lanes for it, the bottom and the middle. Corey Rainey went a little low, but he straightened it out, and you know, 21 with him and 21 had some contact, and that forced 21 down into the 62. Yeah, it was just tight racing right there. I don't see anybody necessarily at fault. That's just some things that happen sometimes. Very unfortunate. Luckily, Holloway he's good for this week. So if something, you know, worst case, if he gets taken out, can't finish a race, you know, he's got that round of 8 locked up. He's good to go. I hope to not see too much. I'm trying to check and see if there's any worse damage from somebody else in the playoff chase right now. But I haven't confirmed anything just yet.
No, unfortunate we didn't add to the airborne count, to my knowledge, so we're still stuck at 2. Caution out now, second caution of the night at lap 18 when they cross in pits this time by. A lot of drivers electing to go in. Beautiful track here tonight, or today, in Sim tonight for us, unless you're on the West Coast. And you still got a little bit of sunlight, and I'm kind of mad at you for it. But, you know, just tough racing already, like you said. You know, not really given that wreck as a fault to anybody in particular. It's just tough racing at this point in time. You know, we got guys fighting for playoff spots. We got guys fighting for brackets. It's gonna create entirely a different breed here tonight, shall I say? As you know, it's more than just an elimination race for the playoff drivers. It's not just 8 guys fighting for a spot. You have almost the entire field fighting for something tonight, and that, you know, that makes a difference in the playoffs. It kind of gives these guys that were knocked out a second wind and a little bit of wind under their sails to try to keep pushing and fighting for what could be come next season. Now, I mean, of course, after that pit cycle, Rhodes still going to be in the lead. He went at lap 18. Breland in second. He chose to stay out. Sam Taylor in fourth. Picklesimmer looks to be in second to third. Tyler Green rounding out your top five. Levi in sixth. Boston in seventh. Banky in eighth now. Rodman in ninth. And Hurt in 10th. Banky up 18 positions from where he gridded, as well as Picklesimmer in second right now.
Yeah, that's a good jump so far. 18 spots is really nice. Also, I want to go back to, I think Dalton Gibson was the only driver outside of Holloway, since he already has his top 8 secured. Dalton Gibson is the only driver in the chase trying to make it to the round of 8 that was involved in that wreck. I could be wrong. I just did a little digging. It looks like he was the only person that got a little banged up, but his car's fine. He didn't take nothing. He just got bumped on both sides a little bit. Nothing too bad.
Still, that's not what you want at the end of the day. You don't want to even a little bit of damage. If I'm not mistaken, these drivers most likely have 2 fast repairs. We can fact check that for you real quick. So, 2 fast repairs, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. Now, once, fool me twice, can't fool me again. Or fool me once, can't fool me again, and you're screwed watching from pits. Now you're watching the broadcast. So, 1 fast repair tonight. 1 fast repair. So that is going to make
one fast repair tonight.
Huge difference. I believe last week we had 2. This week is only going to be 1.
I think last week we had 1. Last week we had 1 fast repair. We thought it was originally 2, you remember, but later in the race we had found out there was only 1 fast repair last week. I mean, we were just surprised of how many drivers were still on track. And I'm pretty sure that this happened last week, but we had thought it was 2, but it was actually 1. That's nuts, but that makes it more fun. It makes your decision making a lot harder, and for some it might make it easier. A lot of the times if you have extra quick repair, like I'll try to slide in there and be aggressive, and if you don't have that extra one, it's like, I'm gonna chill back. I don't want to risk it. So it just adds to that strategy. You can't be as reckless, you can't be as aggressive. I mean, you can be, it's just you have a bigger chance of messing up, and like you said, watching the broadcast early with us.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that situation early, especially if it could be your night for a very pivotal run in the first playoffs here for ASCRL in their iRacing division. Now, of course, going back to a green flag by Christian Rhodes in the restart zone. Rhodes going to be in first. Taylor going to be on the outside, or in the inside, excuse me. Kind of lacking back a little bit is that outside line, led by the 88 of Picklesimmer, who is in need of a good race behind his teammate, the number 1 of Rhodes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all seeing these guys up here again with Rhodes and Picklesimmer. They got to have a good finish in the stage and the end of the race, as I alluded to earlier. And they just need to do their best to stick together, because when it comes down to the end of the stage and the end of the race, you want to have guys around you that's going to help you. And I feel like, if them 2 can stay in the front, like as we've seen all season, they'll be able to have some good finishes, and that's what I expect tonight from them too, because they've done well all season together.
Now, top 3 right now is all teams. I believe they are all slightly dangerous racing. They are not in their voice channel, which means they're probably in a private voice channel talking out strategy tonight, or they're not even talking to each other, knowing that they're all having to fight for it. There might not even be communication between the top 3 right now, due to the fact that they are all fighting for a spot here tonight.
Yeah, you never know. Some people like to talk when they're concentrating. It kind of gets the edge off. Some like to be silent, and some people like to listen to music and just focus. When you're listening to 2 other people or whoever else is in your team chat, it could throw you off a little bit. You're not focusing because you're listening to other 2 people talk as well. So you never know, especially when it comes to the playoffs, man. I know what I would do. I'd probably be in the chat by myself, honestly, so I could just lock in and focus. But you never know.
Now, of course, right now, last week's winner, the 33 of ball, something that Shero can't do himself. Currently sitting in 14th place right now. You know, after another wreck on the field, 33 of ball is going to just beeline it on the inside off the racing surface and miss that. You know, a lot of people are debating last week, did ball cross the line with that finish, or was that just playoff racing? I mean, honestly, to me, the way that wreck situation happened, I would say it was just racing. You know, it's going to happen. No matter where you go, at the white flag, there's going to be a very big wreck coming to the line. Now, of course, having to decipher if it was intentional or not is always up for debate. But I really feel like last week was just a racing incident. All drivers wanting to get that advancement in, and the 33 of ball being the one to do so.
Yeah, I can understand how that would rub people the wrong way, especially ones that's caught up in that wreck. Even if it is a racing incident, it's at the same time, it's like I don't. It wasn't nothing intentional. We know that. We know how Josh Ball is. He's not that type of driver. But at the same time, if you're sitting in the playoffs, you know, and you're on that last lap, and it's like, dang, the 33 caused it, and he ain't even. He has no skin in the game right now, you know, because he's got a guaranteed spot for next round. So that might rub people wrong a little bit. But back to just overview of it, he did nothing wrong. It's just it's a racing incident. It happens. It's nothing malicious. He's not that type of guy. And like I said, it's just unfortunate for the people that do get caused in that pile up. But that's long track racing, you know.
Indeed, it is. Caution there coming out from the 96 of Rodman and the 35 of Banky. Just a little bit of contact on the rear of Banky sent him sideways and spinning. Doesn't seem to have much damage, so it'll be a quick pit and back out. Lap 24 for these drivers now. About
Halfway
halfway.
to halfway.
I'm about to say, about a halfway to the halfway mark.
And this is a big halfway mark because this is where you kind of want to get in the front. You see the number one and 88 and the number nine. There's a reason why they're not caught up in those wrecks because they're in the front, you know, and on Dega and Daytona, you want to be in the front. That's the best. Unless you're in a second group behind, you want to be far back or far in the front to avoid those wrecks. And right now, that's kind of doing well for the 88, the 9, and the 1 because they're avoiding it and they're able to keep their spot.
Now, of course, with this caution, Tyler Hurd is going to be in the lead right now. We'll throw up race recap while we're pacing. We've had 3 cautions for 8 laps right now. Only 2 lead changes at lap 25 out of 100. Of course, a lot of guys still in pits from 21st all the way back to 30th right now, all still in pits. Strom and Corbett will be out, but you still have Guerrero in pits, Rodman in pits, Kilday, Half, Gibson, Matthews, Alessi, and Leash all still in pits. Leash with a meatball flag after that first wreck. I'm assuming he's trying to just fix his damage and not using that fast repair. I mean, it could be a wise decision to get a finish, but, you know, at one point, do you just say, hey, screw it and use it?
I feel like it's too. If I don't have to use it, I'm not going to use it, especially the only one. If you have under 5 minutes of damage, 4 minutes of damage, I probably wouldn't use it honestly. I'd rather just try to, you know, because you got to think these pace laps are very long pace laps, you know. So I think for a track like this, it's best to just if you're under 5 minutes, under 4 minutes, I would do my absolute best to just have the guys in the pit crew fix it for you instead of having to use your quick repair, because you never know later on in the race there's gonna be a big one if that you might get involved with, and that's gonna end your night or give you 20 minutes of, and that's when your race ends. So if it's something minuscule, something that'll take just a couple minutes, under 5 minutes, I'm definitely just gonna use the pits and the pace laps to my advantage.
See, that's the thing right now. He's been in pitch for 7 minutes and 38 seconds. So, I mean, now we know he's multiple laps down, out of contention for a win tonight. You know, I guess you don't want to have to use your fast repair early and then retire yourself out with the second wreck. But, just tough situation. Me personally, I would use that fast repair and then just try to keep my nose clean, stay in the back, and kind of let everybody else use theirs up and wreck themselves out, gain some positions, and then go hard from there on out. Trying to keep myself on lead lap as much as possible. I mean, 7 minutes of damage, even if he went in for 30 seconds of damage and then came back out and rejoined with the field every time there was a caution, he wouldn't even be with the pack. He'd be way far off of pace. So, it's that 50-50 catch-22 where you can
Hmm.
make one call and it may be good, but now you're preying on, like 8 cautions and you being the only one to get your laps back.
Yeah, I mean, I like what honest. I think the best thing he did was what he did just then, and just got an extra couple minutes of repairs, and he's sitting one lap back, and he's back. He's going to be there with on the restart. But yeah, I think now he's the only one lap back, and he's in the front when it comes to the lap cars, since there's only him and one other. So if there's a big wreck, he just kind of sits back, plays smart, just catches the draft in the back, and he just avoids whatever caution may come next. He's going to get that wave around, and he's going to be back up there with him. So I like the idea of going the lap down and get an extra couple minutes of damage repairs. That's about 4 minutes right there you got, and just one caution.
Now, of course, back on the restart zone this time on the 97 of Hurt. Green flag back out now. Lap 26.
Another big jump on the restart. Looks like that bottom line is getting really good jump. But as we've seen, they usually catch back up once that middle line gets going and the guys get in a rhythm.
Crazy move
Looks
there
like
from Christian
oh,
Rhodes.
crazy moves. Yeah, man. I mean, it worked. That was a little, because that really could end it badly for both drivers. But I mean, if
Oh, 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 oh.
oh, here we go.
Rodman and Teal. You saw the situation with Spencer Teal there off the restart. Didn't look like it was a good run for him, and a little bit of contact came out of it on the high side.
And look, like I was saying, Stephen Alessi, he was in the far back just doing his thing, and there's that caution. So he can either go in and get some more damage repaired, or stay out there and get back on that lead lap.
Oh,
Yeah, that was tough one for the 80. You don't want to see that, but that's part of it.
no, there's smoke roll. That's not an airborne. Not close enough. Then the 87 also hit in the back of the 96 as well, so Strom even being involved in this situation. Teal with the blown car, he jumps to pitch, so that's automatically, inherently, 3 minutes of sitting there. That could also be another thing as well. I forgot about that. Uh, Leash could have had to tow his car. I believe he did tow his car. So you got a minus 3 minutes off of the time he's been sitting in pit road. And kind of shows you how much damage he has.
Yeah, Leash had a lot of damage. He's still 7 laps back right now. I guess he's just sitting there getting it done. I don't know if he already used his quick repair or what happened, but yeah, he's got a lot of damage just in there. He's 7 laps back.
Name of the game is patience as always. It's something you have to kind of instill in yourself. You can't jump the gun too early, too fast, of course. You kind of just got to methodically pace it. Try to make your way up as fast as possible, as safe as possible. just because you can make the run doesn't mean everybody else can around you as well. And I feel like a lot of times that's kind of what we're seeing when these cautions come out. It's not that these drivers can't do it. It's the simple fact, as we are just screening nothing but a sign.
Yellowwood, that's a great sponsor.
Yeah.
Jimmy Raines, the sponsor of the Auburn Tigers. I just wanted to throw that out there.
You would know that, wouldn't you?
I sure would. But yeah, it's man, it's definitely tough when you speak about patience on these long races. You know, because you got 30 cars out here. You know, and they all got their own strategy, their own lines they want to run. You know,
Yep.
it's just when you put all that together on one track, on a very, very, very fast track at that, you're going to see a lot of stuff happen, and it really tests these guys. It tests their patience, and you know, I know that it's tough to get through these long races if you do have a bunch of cautions. You know, you got long pace laps, so it definitely gets to you. It gets you frustrated. It could, you know, do a whole lot of things to you. But you know, week in, week out, we see who can we can see who has that endurance. Because like when we talk about Holloway and Ball and all these guys that are getting good finishes and good wins, you know, the guys have good patience, and it shows.
I mean, fourth caution of the night here, of course. We're going to see more. I mean, right now we're really focusing on roads and the pressure for Holloway tonight. I mean, you know, this man was coming out winning race after race after race. Guerrero was the one to get the first race away from him, and Holloway really hasn't had the best luck since then. Right now, currently sitting in 14th place after this caution. He's 10 down from where he qualified. And you got to wonder, is the luck for the 21 fizzled out, or do we still have that the regular season championship contender mentality still there, just not wanting to push it too early with a lot of the line?
Yeah, I just don't think he wants to push it early. There's no reason to. Right now, I think he's just kind of getting his, I would say, warm up practice laps. You know, when his playoffs start next week, he has no reason to push it hard and create enemies. That's one thing you don't want to do is create enemies when you don't have any skin in the game. So I think he's going to lay low in these. He'll still have good finishes. He's just that type of driver. There's just no reason to push it and make some people mad for when his playoff race starts next week.
I mean, of course, you know, tough season as it is for these drivers. We've seen a lot of misfortune. We've seen, you know, drivers come back from what we thought was an impossible race. We've seen drivers claim first wins, and we're still rolling for another few weeks here for season one. And you got to think at the end of the day, the broader spectrum, when this season ends, of course, you know, these guys are pretty comfortable, all cool with each other. But, you know, you got to think, when this season ends, how hard are the rivalries about to be for season two?
And there's no telling, but I know they're going to be born in the playoffs. If there's not many rivalries there's definitely going to be some, you know, starting season two. Because these guys, you know, these playoffs, you put everything on the line, and there's gonna be somebody that frankly pisses you off, you know, and that's just how it goes, and that will carry on. You know, it doesn't get too personal, but in a way it does get personal. Not, you know, like when it comes to iRacing. So they will hold them grudges if you took them out and cost their chance of a championship. Just they're going to give it back to you next season, in my opinion. So just watch for these rivalries to be born here in the playoffs.
Green flag back out now on the 97, a hurt on the outside. Not able to pull away this time. Huge single file line on the bottom. You see a lot of drivers elected to go in, probably for a little bit more gas there during that caution.
Yeah, this is when those pit strategies matter. When you're in your last, there's a caution on the good old the Alabama gang super stretch is what they call it on that back stretch. Quick question for you: do you know, a little trivia for you, Tyler? Do you know any of the members in the Alabama gang?
Absolutely not. I do not follow college football.
No, the Alabama gang is actually based off of Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison, and Davey
Oh,
Allison.
we're talking about racing
Old
here.
drivers.
Yeah.
Yep,
No, I
yep.
didn't.
On the but if you that back wall on the they call it the Alabama gang super stretch. It's written on the side on that back stretch on the wall. You'll notice it now once these guys go around. But yeah, that's your that's your Alabama tribute for Talladega.
More we know here.
Yep. They're out of Hueytown, Alabama, about 20 minutes from where I was from.
Another situation, racing incident. 62 came up into the 4. 62 spins out the 9 on the bottom side. 88, a pickle simmer, gets involved in it. Rear end picked up off the ground.
Man, you hate to see it so quick after these restarts. Corey Rainey involved with another one. He's taking a lot of damage tonight.
Doesn't look like he has much on his car, but I mean, of course, he's definitely taking some there.
Here we'll see some more drivers hit, get some more damage and some more fuel since we're coming down to the wire on this first stage. And as we spoke about earlier, these stage points are these are the most important stage points these guys have had all season. This is where because you could have a good finish at the end of the race, but you still get knocked out and not make the round of 8 just because you didn't get any stage points or not enough of them. So this is a very big stage for these guys, especially the ones that are outside looking in.
Now, of course, Hurt still in the lead with that caution there that time. Poston going to be in, believe, third with Green in second. Of course, still pacing here at Talladega, ready to go back green. Roughly just another lap.
Long, long pace laps.
About 2.5, 3 minutes of pace lap here.
It feels about like 5 minutes. You see right there on that back wall, the Alabama gang super stretch right there. Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that the Allisons were from Alabama. Man, there's a great group of drivers. I wish I was around when they were driving, but so cool to have them, from the area.
Choose cone that time by, so of course, this time we're going to be getting ready to go green again. Hurt going to be on the bottom.
That's a very pretty San Diego paint scheme. Oh no, Tyler Hurt's car. Todd Potions is nice too. I love looking at these paints, man, especially the, the bright colored ones. They're very nice.
It's a pretty good scheme. I did like it when he debuted it last time. I can't remember exactly what race, but I know it was about a month ago. He pulled that paint scheme out, and that point in time was about the brightest on the track.
Yeah. There's a lot of nice schemes. I like Gary Breland. He's got the it looked like the Bubba Wallace Hardy's car, the 23. Christian Rhodes, and he's always in that Mountain Dew car. It was very very nice schemes tonight. Red Bull Black for Josh Ball in the 33. Man, these are really good.
Now the stage is set again as we are ready to go back. Green flag here. Fifth caution of the night. Hopefully it starts to kind of dial itself out a little bit. We get some green flag conditions. We're only at lap 33. We could have already at least been at that stage break by now without those 5 cautions.
Yeah, it's a part of it. It's one wrong move of the wheel. You don't lift enough in the gun in the turns, all hell can break loose. It's just those tracks. We talk about it week in and week out on these super speedways, and that's just how these tracks are. You obviously want them to be more green, but when you got so much on the line, you got the pressure kicking in. A lot can go wrong, and just hopefully these guys can stay composed and get this thing done tonight. There's the green flag. Back at it, boys.
Tyler Hurt with a really good jump there as always, but unfortunately not going to be able to hold it long. Wife scared the hell out of me as you were talking about it. Jumped right out of my damn skin.
Looks like he's going high. Hurt is. I think he prefers that line instead of going low.
I mean, and that's kind of what we've seen here for ASCRL, man. That top line has always been prevailing. It may be the cars, because I know these. Ooh, good block there,
Man,
from Hurd.
that was perfect timing.
That was literally the perfect timing. Like any later, and that would have been a wreck, and the entirety of the track would have been caught up with that. I mean, even though it was at the lead and he would have washed up high, you got at least 10 cars that are pretty close behind that would have all been involved. We've already got some 3 wides back here staggered.
Mm-hmm.
3 lines of 3 wide racing. Just not too far wide.
Yeah, I also want to look at Trevor Yates. He started at 30th, and right now he's sitting in the top 5. Man, what a jump for him. Same thing with Gary Brilliant in the 23 car. Started 21st, and he's in the top 5 as of now. That's just a huge jump for Trevor. He's not in the playoffs or nothing like that. But man, like I said, you get some good finishes. That really builds that momentum. Going to finish out the season and to start the next. So it's always nice to have a good finish. I'd like to see Trevor with a good finish tonight, and the way it's looking, he might have one.
Like you said, really not a part of the playoffs, but he is on his own little revenge tour. Him, Rodman, and Stevens. Of course, we haven't seen Zach Stevens in a few weeks.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh, Christian Rhodes involved.
And I was just talking about Trevor as well, and the 33 got into the back of him. Let me see if I can get a better view on it. Yeah, the 33. He gave Trevor Yates a bump on the turn. That's just kind of one place you don't want to bump anybody when you're in the middle of the pack. And he gave him a shove, and ultimately gave him a lot of damage.
Well, of course, with this caution now, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we will be back with more action here for the American Stock Car Racing League round of 12 elimination race. Don't go anywhere, folks.
I want to taste your banana pudding. You taste my banana pudding.
It's on. It's on.
I was going to say, will you marry me?
Is my makeup messy? Yes, it's messy.
Consumer Cellular can help people save on their cell phone bills. That's why I cut my car in half. This year, let's cut even more things to show people how much they can save. Let's cut the face off of our helmets. Let's cut the top off of our steering wheel. Let's even cut our hats.
Isn't that just a visor?
Shut up, Chris. Great. Can't wait to see what y'all come up with.
Get your second month free with Consumer Cellular.
we come back here from commercial break, right as we are about to go green lap 40. Stage 1 has been pretty long here tonight. We've already been going for about an hour and, well, actually about an hour, 57 minutes already since the start of the green flag. Pace car going to be off, and we're going to get back to green flag racing here. .31 of Boston will be in the lead. Excuse me, Breland on the bottom. Green flag out now, 10 to go for stint number 1. Can the drivers finish it green?
It's a big question. So we're going to find out one way or the other. The block job by Breland going high and blocking a 31 car. It worked. It slowed him down, slowed that momentum down. There's a 9 pushing at 3 wide, and 12 tries to block him, and the 9 goes into the wall. There's like a little bump. There's nothing too bad. A lot of defense being played here, these last 10 laps to go for the stage. I don't see it changing, but if it keeps going like this, Tyler, probably going to have another caution before before the stage ends.
Well,
I mean, you kind of got to, though, man. These are crucial points. I mean, if you're not racing crazy, you're not trying, in my opinion, especially when these stage points are the most important thus far this season.
I mean, you're not wrong there. You have to, you don't want to just be a conservative Nancy and then, or shall I coin it, a conservative Connor in the middle of the track, trying to slowly make positions, just waiting for somebody else to wreck. You've got to make those moves, get in your positions early, and then go from there. And a lot of times that's what's causing these incidences. Unfortunate situation for the drivers, though, is they only get one fast repair. Once they use that, it's a wrap. So I feel like there's a lot of drivers, at least more than half of the field now, that has elected to take a fast repair at some point in time, and is probably safe for that one.
Yeah, those are the ones that you don't want it to be too aggressive right now, unless they are on the outside looking in. They're trying to get that round of 8, and they need point. You kind of have to put it all on the line out there at that point, even on the stage. Because, the stage finish could, if you have a bad stage finish and you get no points, that could end your season. So you got to try to get every type of point you can. You got to squeeze it out and just do your best and try to stay clean for the rest of the duration of the race and just go point hunting. At this point, this your season's on the line, in these situations, so you got to get out and get it, or somebody else will. So those points that you don't get aggressive for, somebody else will be aggressive, and they will take them points from you, and they will go on to the next round and leave your butt behind.
They're side by side here, Boston and Breland. Breland, of course, not in the fight, but still looking for a win himself. Like we were saying earlier in pre-race, the biggest things to watch tonight are going to be these emotions. A lot of these drivers are desperate. There are rivalries, tempers and patience kind of wearing and building. Trust officially disappearing. I mean, it's like Sam Taylor, Rhodes, and Pickleson. We don't even know if these guys are talking to each other right now. It's
Yeah.
It's just that situation when it comes down to racing like this that you have nights that are crazier than others. This night is gonna be one of them. There's a lot of finishing positions kind of being up for grabs at this point in time.
Yeah, and it's it ain't going to end. We're just in round one. The second week of round one. There's so much racing to go, so there's going to be a lot more drama and a lot more emotions going on throughout the playoffs. As we mentioned earlier about rivals, rivalries will be created. Just from somebody bumping somebody and taking them out of the race. That's gonna get people heated, and those emotions will flare. And like I said, with it only being week two, there's a lot of racing. A lot of week two in the first round. There's a lot of racing to go, and there's a lot of emotions to be had. And there goes 31 into the wall, and here comes out that caution. Wow, that's a big one. Oh gosh, Binky just took out the 32 as well. We got a lot to unpack right there.
I think that gives us our answer.
Yeah, a lot of emotion on that one.
That started in the front of the field here. Looking at the cam, you could already see it.
Yeah, it looks like 12 was pushing the 31 coming out of 2. And it's just one of those things. The 31 of Todd Poston, he kind of, yeah, I mean, it's really just racing it. So it's not like he did anything wrong. It's just, coming out of turns pushing, it can really mess up that car in front, just being pushed. We've seen it with Josh Ball in the 71 last caution. And that's just, you got to be careful. Like, whenever I'm always on these tracks, I don't push unless I'm on the straightaway. I don't like to do it in the tri-oval or in the turns. It just leads to disaster, and it did right there.
I mean, a lot of drivers stacked up in that one, too. Not a good situation you want to find yourself in.
Man, that's just unfortunate for a lot of guys.
Of course, caution out now again.
Man, Rhodes is in that one as well. I feel like Rhodes hasn't had good luck these past couple of cautions. He's been caught up in some stuff. Hate to see it for him, especially when he's trying to secure a top 8 spot for next round.
Well, it's also going to get crazier here, too, now, because as soon as that green flag drops, it's going to start a 2-lap shootout.
Yeah. It's going to be a very crucial 2 laps right here, too, for these guys.
Of course, at the time of the caution, Braylon is your leader at lap 48. This is where it becomes tricky. Drivers patiently waiting to get back green here tonight. Last week's winner, Josh Ball, he is in pits right now. He is officially exiting pits. He will be scored at 19 for this restart. And of course, Ball, kind of controversial way in. He tied with Sam Taylor because, he found a loophole in the rule book. He was able to start the round of 12, which technically made it almost the round of 13. Him locking himself in kind of, knocked it back out to where it should be. But, one last week, and what some are saying a controversial finish Of course, he was the talk of the garage this week as he's locked into the round of 8.
Yeah, yeah, Josh. He's definitely one of the best racers in this league. He hasn't raced as much as the others. I do agree that he should have been in the playoffs. We went over this weeks back after the regular season and saying that there was nothing in the rule book about the certain amount of races that were required to run to make the playoffs. So that was really whoever found that out on his team. That was a good job, because they secured a teammate, into the playoffs, and he has a first round bye, so that's huge for him. Yeah, he's definitely lit the playoffs on fire so far. He's not this race as much. He's did take out a driver, but he's definitely one of the best drivers in here. Him and Holloway. It's going to be very fun to watch those guys duke it out starting next week.
And drivers right now can love him or hate Paul, but I mean he's locked into the playoffs. Something a lot of these drivers can say they are right now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sure a lot of guys are jealous. But at the end of the day, that's why you gotta worry about yourself and then finish good, throughout the regular season, and then you ain't got to worry about other drivers. But I'm glad it was a really good call on the admins of ASCRL to push it to 13 instead of just 12, so you're not pushing somebody out. Yeah, kudos to them for making the right decision. Yeah, we're going to see this all pan out, and I'm excited for it.
Ready to go back green now are these drivers. Double file restart. Remember, this is going to be a 2-lap shootout once they cross the line.
There he goes. Like Pickle Simmer, he's in the top 6 right now. He's trying to get him some points. That'll definitely help him if he's able to secure some stage points, since he's on the outside looking in. There's a couple other playoff drivers in the top as well, trying to race for this stage. You got Josh Riddle, he's up there. Russell Hancock, the one that was involved in the first wreck. And you have Pickle Simmer as well, and Horse rounding them out. So a bunch of playoff drivers competing for these stage points.
I mean, it's just crazy to me. Only 2 drivers that are in playoff contention within the top 10.
Ooh. And again, there goes 3 wide with 14 in the middle. Up and there's. Is that for the stage, or is that?
That should be the stage. As drivers are now on 50 going to 51. That should be the stage right there. So Breland's going to go ahead and take stage 1 for himself. Of course, we still have 50 more laps to go. And not only is it going to be worth your while to wait, but it's also going to be some good racing. Of course, right now, we're going to shoot another commercial break while these drivers get to pits and get ready to go. We shall be back in another 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Dave in Victor Lane.
The after jets are don't count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
What a victory this will be. Next flag is going to hit. Does he have enough? Let's go. A dominant performance. They're going to say no, baby. Let's go.
You got to earn this thing.
It is all on the table.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the Daytona 24, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR schedule, such as the Daytona 500. We have events from disciplines all across the racing world, from the Indianapolis 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events utilize iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against every driver taking part. And as every race progresses, watch and feel the track change with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
Ready to go green here for stint number 2. It's been a long stint 1. A little bit longer than normal. Drivers pushing the limits tonight. Not only for their cars, but just their driving, the lines and everything that they are doing right now. They are really driving these cars as far and as hard as they possibly can. And, you know, kind of drivers have paid for it a little bit with a few more cautions than what we're used to before stint number 2. 8 cautions already so far, of course, minus this one for the stage break. So 7 cautions on the night so far before we've even hit lap 55.
Asked for that pace truck. Make sure they got that thing filled up. He's done a lot of pacing tonight so far in the first stage.
Of course, 46 more laps to go before we get a winner. And look, Cheryl, look who's in the lead.
Number 33, Josh Ball. Ain't no surprise there. Then you got the 88 pushing.
You need Ball to go drive your car for the rest of the season.
Right.
Now, of course, right now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, the pack is going to change. Just give it about a half a lap here. A lot of fight in the back end of the pack. Top side, really single file right now. And I think now we're starting to see these gas strategies come into effect. Of course, that last wreck coming out in the front of the field, so now everybody probably down a fast repair. Now comes the self-preservation.
Yeah, once that fast repair is gone, hopefully that's when you see these drivers straighten it up a little bit and not be too aggressive. I've seen people be aggressive 0 fast repairs before, so we'll see how these guys finish out this second stint of this playoff race.
You know, kind of going back to what we were talking about last week with Josh Ball getting that win there. You know, it wasn't just a win for him. A lot of people deemed it aggressive, emotional, chaotic, and playoff defining. You know, now the garage is kind of split into two groups. Drivers who think Ball did what it takes to win. And of course, drivers who think he crossed the line. That tension is going to carry into every remaining playoff race, especially if someone is eliminated due to that win last week.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Just like we spoke earlier about, you know, rivalries being created. You know, this could have been enough for somebody to be like, hey, 33, look out. You know, not anything malicious, but it's all right. I'm going to, you know, definitely drive aggressive. I'm not going to push you, stuff like that. So you never know, like with all these emotions that goes on with these drivers, you know, before, during, after the race. You never know what's on these guys' minds. And that last week really could have ticked off a lot of people, as you said, you know, with the garage being split into two groups. So we'll see how it plays out for the rivalry of the 33 versus everybody else.
Now looking back here to someone right now that is currently sitting in 9th place, Daniel Holloway. The Dominator. Sunderland looks like a mortal. He entered the playoffs as the favorite. Nobody else was really being chosen as a favorite other than Holloway. Of course, locked into the round of 8, finished 25th. Of course, now we're finding out that the King does bleed. For the first time all season, Holloway has started looking vulnerable. And now the pressure has flipped. Before, everyone was chasing him. But now, he has to respond to the pressure.
Yeah, Holloway, he's been great all season. As I alluded to earlier, these two races in the first round of the playoff, he's not going to look to be too aggressive and to, you know, cause any problem for anybody else. You know, his racing doesn't start till next week. He's just out here just staying in groove. You don't want to miss a race if you don't have to in between. You want to keep that rhythm going. You know, next week when it starts for him and Ball, you know, Holloway's definitely going to be up there in the front, as we've seen all season. So I'm not going to worry about it yet. But once his playoffs start next week in that round of 8, that's when we'll be able to see how mortal he really is compared to everybody else.
Of course, Tyler Hurt right now sitting just outside of our top 10 and 11th. He is alive and thriving after last week. He got a P2 finish, massive jump, now safely above the cut. Now he went from a bubble survivor to a legit threat now, and suddenly, you know, no one really expected this run from him. Now, everybody wants to race him. And that's another thing we were talking about with playoff runs. You know, drivers are going to have these mentality changes out of nowhere. One good finish is going to really equate to a big difference, not only in the competition and how they look at you, but, you know, just in general to the racing that you're going to have to be dealing with now on a consistent basis.
Yeah, you hit it there. You know, Tyler's had a really good end of the season. Last week he had a good finish. Yeah, he is definitely more safe above the cut. He's still not completely safe. You know, anything can happen. You know, these playoff points did restart last week going into the playoffs. So most of the drivers in the field in the playoffs are on an even playing field. So yeah, he does have a nice, comfortable lead, but he does still need to have a decent finish to advance. And he's just been really good as of late. He's definitely a legit threat. So I look to see Tyler definitely make some noise as this playoff tournament continues.
You know, of course, the elimination line as well, while we're on the topic of playoff points, is absolutely ludicrous. All drivers from 3rd to 13th are separated by 23 points. The drivers that are kind of teetering on safe would be Ball, Holloway, Poston, Hurt, Greer, and Gibson. Drivers in the danger zone right now. At the cut line, it's going to be Hancock at 0, and then Riddle at +0. Like we said, just below that cut right now. Coming into this race, Pickle Simmer back 3. Rhodes back by 5. Banky back by 7. Taylor back by 10, and Horst by 14th. Of course, one race, 5 eliminations for these drivers, and for a lot of them, it's total panic right now.
Yeah, especially ones from below the cut. You know, you look at it, you see Horst, he's 14 points behind. That happened in one race, you know, so anything could happen in this one too. Someone else could drop a bunch of points, and Horst could jump his way up, you know, above the cut. It's just that's you know, I've said it 1,000 times tonight. These stage points are very important. And for Pickle Simmer, he had a second place finish in stage this race, so he's already looking like he's going to probably get in the cut if he can, you know, keep his composure, stay patient, and have a good finish. And you know, for in Rhodes, we've seen him up there all night as well. He's got to a couple cautions in stage 1. But yeah, there's these guys, just because they're below the cut does not mean their season's over. They could still get in the top 8, because if somebody could drop 14 points below the cut in one race, they could elevate 14 points in a race. So just look at these guys. Don't count them out yet. They don't need to count themselves out. There's still a lot of racing to do, and yeah, we're gonna see how it shakes out.
That's kind of crazy what we're seeing here. Blimp cam, you know, single file racing from a lot of these guys. Packs separated. 2 different packs is what it looks like on the field right now. 4-car pack in the rear, then you got a 3-car pack not too far off from, well, pretty far off actually from your leaders, almost about a minute back, and you know, some drivers already out for the night. Right now, this front pack just pure single file and getting it done. Pickle Simmer now currently holds the lead with 36 more laps to go in the race. The elimination race for the round of 12 for the American Stock Car Racing League. So right now, the driver that kind of needs to be in that position. He needs to now execute and get the finish. The biggest question is, what will hurt him of that possible finish, and when will it come?
Yeah, we're gonna find out, brother. Like I said, you know, there's still a lot of racing to go, a lot of playoff racing to go, and anything can change. You know, at the flip of a coin, you have your guys in front; they could be last super quick. That's just how it goes. Whether it's, you know, through cautions and your pit times, there's just a lot that goes into these races, and yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get a good finish out of him, though, regardless.
Start. Seems like everything's really slowing down here now for a lot of these drivers. This could make the difference for them here at the end.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely are slowing down for them. This is just when you got to be very focused and do your best to stay focused and be patient, as we've, you know, spoke about all season. We're gonna really see what these drivers are made of when it comes down to it. And you know, playoffs is just a different animal. And yeah, we're gonna see it shake out, and it's gonna be very fun watching it in the broadcast booth.
Now, of course, tides can very well change here very quick as well. Something we've seen happen multiple times, not only tonight, but through the last few weeks that we have been up here in the booth, and you know, especially for the fans watching at home, things aren't as it seems. 33 laps is a long way to go still. You know, you have to take that in perspective for these these drivers up here that it's about 2 pit cycles.
And we might see that pit strategy, come alive in the second stage. They've ran pretty well so far, knock on wood. And you know how that broadcast curse works when it comes to cautions. But yeah, we really might see these pit strategies, come to fruition. We didn't really see that in the first stage because we didn't have big breaks in between each caution. But everybody seems to just kind of stay smooth in a single line in this front group. No one's really been aggressive. There's no reason to be aggressive right now with there being 32 laps to go, 31 laps to go. So these guys are just in a good rhythm, and hopefully they keep it this way because at the end, when your season's on the line, it's not gonna be pretty for a lot of other people. There's gonna be 3 wide. There's gonna be maybe 4 wide on this track coming to the end on that last turn. It's gonna get hectic, and we're gonna we're gonna be here to watch it. So.
Oh, we're going to be watching this for sure. And, like you said, 3, 4 wides, things change very quickly here. And a lot of people don't like sitting stagnant and sitting impatiently waiting for the back. Here comes some drivers in the pits from Group 1.
Josh Ball is a part of that group, along with Dwayne Corbet, Adam Kilday, and Tyler Hurt. Trevor Yates entering the pits later too, and let me see, yeah, that's that. So there's Trevor Yates. A couple people coming in the pits. So as long as they stay together on these green laps, they'll be fine. This is just one of those times you can't really break yourself from that pack, or you will be out there by yourself. And when it comes to drafting track, you're in no man's land, and they will catch up to you and lap you.
Now, of course, leaders staying out. Gotta wonder how many more laps they're gonna sit out on the track before they have to go in themselves. Oh, well, there they go.
Yep. So we got us the pit cycle. It's good to see it on the green.
Seemed like just a gas fill up for the leader there.
Looks like we have Tyler Green in the 24 car as the leader as of now, with Adam Schramm, Eric Rodeman, Todd Polson, and Dalton Gibson rounding off the top 5. And here comes some to the pit. Looks like they're all coming to pit lane right now in that group. Binky stays out. Coming down to the wire. This is where season ends for some drivers. You just don't want it to be you that doesn't advance to that round of 8. But not everybody's able to make it, and some people will be left out. That's just part of it.
This is the point of the night. At the point of no season, and one wreck can kind of fix it all, But at the same point in time,
Yeah.
you're praying for that wreck at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Like you just want it to. I mean, not to be. You don't want to see drivers get wrecked out. But at this point, like if I'm in one of these cars and I see a big wreck in front of me of all the guys in front of me in the playoffs, if I'm not involved, I'm gonna have a big old smile on my face. You don't want things to happen that way, but if it does, hey, you take it, you take what you can get. And so yeah, we're going to see that happen on that last lap. In the big one, the main big one at least, we're going to see a lot of heart shatter when it comes down to that final lap. You just got to hope it's not you.
I mean, you could hope all you want. Hoping might not get you through. So it's still going to be pretty intense, pretty tough. I mean, 27 more laps to go here. Picklesimmer off of a crazy strategy, just going for gas, as you saw there. I mean, he went in and out pretty damn quickly. Now he's back in the lead. You've got to wonder, as much as Picklesimmer's been here, in situations that have kind of caused him to filter out into the back end, or kind of filter out into the back end, or kind of wreck him out with those late cautions between him and Christian. Christian is in. It's 1, 2, 3 again for the team, and
Yeah.
Sitting with 26 more laps to go after an insane decision. Looking at his pit time here, I mean, on the screen it's a 7.8. So that is 100% gas and go. I mean, same thing with Sam Taylor. He had an 8.35. Christian Rhodes, a 7.9. So, looking at where they're at right now, these three drivers, or if actually it's looking like almost all the drivers opted to take just gas. Todd Poston with an 8.4. Stroll with an 8.7. Gibson with an 8.2. So it seems like all these drivers are kind of on the same strategy, as I can't even string a sentence with words together here. All on the same strategy to kind of just take gas and no tires, and kind of see how this 28 laps, now 24, are going to go. Of course, if that caution does come out, we already know these drivers are going to end up going back down into pits, getting the tires, and then getting on with the race. But of course, until that point in time, thank you very much, Brianna. Until that point in time, they're going to do their best to really just hone it in with just the gas itself. I mean, I don't know how wise of a strategy that can be at the late stage of the race, but we already know a caution will come out at some point in time.
Yeah, I don't think these drivers in their head, they just want to get something quick, get back out there, stay in the front. There's no reason to take tires. Can tires help you? Yeah, I guess maybe a little bit. Like if you get bumping with somebody, it kind of keeps you have a little more grip on them. But man, I don't think it matters as much. So that positioning coming out of pits is a lot more important than having fresh tires. Because I promise you, the person that wins today, it's not going to be because of their tires. It's going to be because just their strategy and just the way they race. I don't think tires. This isn't Bristol or those other small tracks where tire wear matters. You just got to drive and just turn a little left. You don't have to worry about them tires as much. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all by these guys in the front not only taking fuel.
I mean, believe it or not, even though it might be like a 4 to 5% difference on tires, it does make a little bit of a difference here. Now, you're not going to see much of that difference, but if you do go in and get that first set of tires, you're inherently not going to try to slide up in the draft a little bit. Taylor off the track, comes back up. That is going to be a huge drag.
That's going to be a caution. Yeah, that's tough. Pickle Simmer, he's in fourth still. He avoided it. And
Christian
that,
Rose down to 7th.
yeah, they had a good run, the 14, the 33, and the 85. They had a good run on the inside, broke them guys up, was able to get the lead. Looks like we had some contact with the 12 and 11. Made the 12 come down and bumped into the 87. And then in front of them, that's when Rhodes and Taylor kind of got contact. Let's see here.
I mean, 97 almost literally had the 9 take out his own teammate. Unfortunately, the 1 is what sent the 9 back up on the track. There's another airborne counter for the night. Holy hell.
Oh, God. Yeah, that 97 was coming on the high line. It looked like the number 9 car of Sam Taylor. He didn't know if he wanted to block or get low. He was kind of just a no man's land by himself. 97 ended up bumping into him, and that's what spun him off the track. He tapped the 1 car and then took out a bunch of other drivers while in the air. Yeah, that's not good for him because Mr. Sam Taylor, I believe, he is second to last. He is currently sitting in 12th place out of the 13 in the playoffs. So that could have ended his season just like that if he hasn't used his fast repair.
I mean, still, even if you use the fast repair, you got to tow it. Where we're at on the track, it's going to be 3 minutes worth of towing, so you're kind of screwed there.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got to think, too, there's already 3 drivers, only 1 lap back, so he would go to the back of that pack out of those, and he'd be done for. He'd probably finish with a lap down. Unless there was another 4 cautions, 3 cautions before the race end, which is very liable to happen.
I mean, we saw Taylor jump to pits there too. Now it's tough situation, you know. In 24th now, 23 positions down from where he qualified, and now you got to kind of play the entire strategy game in your head. What went wrong? What could you have done different? How is this going to affect the team? You know, now it's going to be just Pickle Simmer and Rhodes out there until he's fixed, if he can get fixed, to get back up on the track. And, you know, Tyler Hurd now in the lead, Guerrero in second. We've seen Guerrero get multiple wins this season. I mean, he has the speed to do it. He has the car to do it. Now it's really putting him in a good position here at lap 80. As he's now going to be in second place as the other 3 cars in front of Hurt and Guerrero are going to be waived.
Yeah, and also this is one of the first times that I've been a part of this booth, and Vicente and Ball, neither of those were in the top 2 when it came to qualifying. And I feel like every week they both are, or at least one of them is, you know. So I was very surprised to see that at the beginning of the race to not see both of them up front.
You know, I think it just depends on the car for them. You know, a lot of guys kind of struggle with speed depending on what car it is. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Or, you know, sometimes you sandbag your qualifying. You don't want to be in the front early on. You want to be in the back where the strongest bit of draft is. Go ahead and, you know, just do some base laps for qualifying. Don't really push it too hard. Run the top or middle line, and, you know, kind of take it from there. I mean, me personally, for a race like this, I most likely would be starting at a pivotal point. That point would be at the rear of the field, and, you know, slowly make your progressions there. But it also is difficult at the same point in time, you know, wanting to start back there due to the fact that you're gonna be inherently in almost every wreck, as depending on what line you are, you're not gonna be able to see it. If you stay on the high side, you're in the wreck. If you stay on the low side, the wreck's blocked. You're not going to have eyesight on it until it's too late. So, I mean, it's a catch-22, you know. But personally, I would have rather started at the back of the field.
Yeah, it also comes down to your team. You know, like I kind of want to, if I'm in the situation with my team, I want us to all start in the front or all start in the back. If you all start in the back, you could honestly break off from that front group on the restart at the beginning, you know, at the start of the race. You could have your own little line of 3, 4 cars, you know, have your own draft where you're, you know, an eighth of a track length behind them. And you can kind of, so when you do see these big wrecks, you can avoid them, you know, kind of put yourself in a, especially if you're the driver that's already in the top 8 and you have a decent points lead over the cut line, and you just want to focus on having a very consistent finish, a safe finish. That's something I would do. Now, if I'm under the cut line, what I'm doing, I'm trying to go balls to the wall, put me in the front. Let me do my best to stay out there in the front, have less chance to get involved in wrecks, shoot for stage points, and then ultimately shoot for a win at the end. So it just depends where you're at in these playoffs. Because if you're in a safe spot, let's not force it. Let's just stay in the back. Let's let these other guys wreck out using fast repairs, and you know we'll come up behind when we need to. And if you're someone that's under that cut line, you got to be aggressive. Let me start in the front. So it just depends on these situations that these drivers are going through at this point in time.
Now, of course, here, 9th caution of the night. Not too egregious. Still, you know, a little bit on the high side. A lot of those cautions coming before we got to the second stint. I mean, lap 82 right now. They're about to touch 83 when they cross the line after this restart as the pace truck's off now. You know, it's been kind of the race you expect for an elimination race, and no hate to the drivers when I say it like that. You know, it can come off a little rude, but you know, good jump there as the green flag's out for 14. But Super Speedway, he's going to catch back up quick now. He's going to
Yeah.
block both lines. But you know, I don't mean that in any harm to the drivers. You expect these elimination races to be very, very, I guess, tough in the sense of having to fight and then making your positions and just trying to be on bumpers, and the car in front of you makes a bad wiggle, and now because you guys relaxed, there's a wreck, or you know you're trying to use side draft, and boom, now there's contact, there's another wreck, you know. So it's been one of those tough fought battles. It's what you expect to see from an elimination race. Of course, not what the drivers want. You know, you don't want damage on your car. You don't want to get wrecked out. But you know, it's been a good race. Unfortunately, you know, for some, this race isn't going to define a season. And for others, it's going to kind of eliminate them.
Yeah, we're gonna find out who gets eliminated as well. You know, this is kind of just where you put it on the line. You know, I'm not surprised with there being this many, just under 10 cautions this race so far. With I'm sure maybe a couple more to come, maybe not. You know, every driver's in a different spot with their different strategies. Some are faster than others, so you're prone to have a bunch of wrecks. You know, on these draft tracks. And you know, playoffs are so important where just about every lap matters, especially at the end of the stages. So yeah, you're going to see some blood left on the track, and I mean I wouldn't expect anything less. And yeah, we're just getting started. We're still in the first round of these playoffs, and it's going to get a lot more messy going forward when it comes to just emotions and things like that and strategy. So we're going to be here for it, and it's going to be fun to watch, just like these past races have been.
We have 16 laps to go right now. Someone that really needs to put this car in gear is the 15 of course. It has practically been a complete disaster for him so far here in the playoffs. He was a elite driver in the regular season, one of the best point racers all year, and now dead last in the playoffs. And you know, you got to kind of ask yourself, how did it fall apart for that 15 so fast? You know, he entered hot, had multiple wins, massive momentum. One of the biggest collapses that we have seen on the track on camera for weeks. You know, he went from a championship favorite to must-win desperation, and now, you know, is kind of in the same place. You know, looking at Rhodes as well. The one car now in 13th. He's been in a free fall. He's 21st place. He went from hunter to hunted. Now, of course, pressure for him very real in contention for, 15 laps to go. You practically need to gain a position each lap to be able to do something.
Yeah, with Horst and Rhodes, man, it's you got to put it all on the line right here. You're just going to get left under the cut and not be racing for the playoffs next week, And even, another guy to throw in there, Matt Binky, he's in trouble again. He had a rough playoff night last week, and, he's 7 below the cut. And it just seems like every time he climbs back, something hits him again. And this is just one of these moments where these drivers, with Binky, Rhodes, and Horst, they just have to just put it all on the line in these last 13 laps. Because if they don't, then they're going to be racing for nothing next week. And, you hate to see it. That's just how it works. Not everybody can make the playoffs. People are going to get cut. And this is the time to put up or shut up for these 3 drivers with Binky, Horst, and Rhodes.
Picklesimmer right now sitting behind what Guerrero says. Some people that can't roll their R's says no pasta racing. He is the most dangerous driver below the line right now. He's only -3. Still has immaculate elite speed. He's entered the season hot. He's had multiple wins, massive momentum, of course. The fastest driver right now fighting for that survival. If he can get clean track position, he could steal a spot tonight. Sitting with the ball, he's locked in Guerrero. Not in the playoffs. Holloway has the advance as well. I mean, he's finishing in front of Horst, Riddle, Hancock. Of course, Hancock only 2 positions behind, but of course we still have 13 laps to go. Anything can happen at this time. So, Picklesimmer still might be in the fight right now, and he's already led 19 laps tonight.
Yeah, and Picklesimmer, he picked up a huge stage win. He finished second. Yeah, he got a good bit of points in that second place stage win, and that's huge. That could ultimately, if he just has like a top 10 finish, that could be enough. He's definitely been very elite this season, as you mentioned about his elite speed, and man, he's just him and Rhodes as well. His teammate, they've just been doing really well when it comes to getting out here and leading laps. Unfortunately, Rhodes got into some wrecks earlier, but Picklesimmer, man, he's been the best. You can tell with Picklesimmer, he's put it all on the line tonight. He has showed up so far. There's still some racing to go, but you can tell that he wants to win this thing in advance, and he's only about one of the few that I've seen under that cut line that's been very aggressive. And I look to see him getting that playoff spot for that last spot for the next round.
Another big important fight that we are watching here, watching the entirety of this race, but now it's getting down to the wire with 11 to go, is also Hancock and Riddle. It is deemed one of the most important battles right now on the track. They're both sitting exactly on the cut line. They are the last 2 in, and behind them, including Picklesimmer, absolute sharks. Right now, Hancock currently sitting in 5th. Riddle sitting in 12th. They're going to lose a lot of points. Now Riddle in 13th, so Riddle's going to lose a lot of points to Picklesimmer right now on this stage 2 finish, and that really could make the difference. Unfortunately, Christian Rhodes in 15th behind both of them, so I don't believe that first stage will really make up for the situation in the second stage. Kind of praying for a caution here, and so he can kind of get through his progressions to get back up. But I mean, those 2 right now really haven't the 88.
Yeah, and right now, Hancock and Riddle, they're just sitting there, floating with their head above the water barely. It's time to sink or swim, and right now Hancock trying to swim. He's top 5, and if he secures the top 5 spot, I'm pretty sure he'll secure the his spot in the round of 8. Riddle's got a lot of climbing to do and not as much time to do it. There's still time, but just not a lot. Under 8 laps to go. Yeah, I agree, man. That battle is definitely the most important so far this season. Yeah, I'm excited to see where these guys land when they get these points tallied up after this race.
And right now we have 9 to go. These packs are really separated now. Guerrero and Ball holding their now. We've already seen how these guys do. Ball's already locked in. He's not going to pass Guerrero for the win. If anything, he'll most likely block that line. They'll start to try and churn on the bottom side. If not, they'll just stay in their progressions up high and not let that 88 pass to get the win. As the 88 tried to go down there, you saw a little bit of a block. Now that put the 88 in hot water on the middle line. It's already made him fall back about 2.5 car lengths to the bumper of the 33 at Ball. Now he's going to file in low. 3 wide behind. I mean, I think it's starting to get to the point in time drivers don't know which moves to go, which moves to make to what lines, as it's starting to get a little bit tough.
Yeah, and that was an aggressive move on 88 trying to get in there. Ball did a good job of staying in front. I will say this, I feel like Josh, he's going to have to try to be smart when it comes to these last couple laps. You don't want another situation that happened last week. Even though it was nothing malicious, if it happens back-to-back weeks, it kind of raises an eyebrow. And then you're definitely everybody's enemy. I'm not 100% sure how this admin team works when it comes to penalties. I don't know if there's point deduction or drive-through, whatever. But if I have any wise words for the 33, try to keep it clean and smooth. Don't have everybody look at you funny for causing or being involved in a wreck like it happened last week. So yeah, just try to do your best to stay clean. Your position does not matter at all in this race, just because you're already locked in. So my advice to the 33 would just be to kind of chill. Don't try to push nothing too hard, and just have a clean finish. Just because you never know what could happen if he gets caught up in another wreck at the end, just like he was last week.
Holy hell. Well, that move from the 88 kind of caused everybody to spread out a little bit there. That has now changed the tides a lot with 6 to go. The 12 is now in front of Pickle Simmer by 1 position. Matt Banky is now sitting in 5th. You have Hancock now up in 9th. Rose
What a
still
flip.
in 14th, still trying to pull back up there with 6 laps to go. But this fight for the last 2 spots, or at least the last spot, has gotten a lot tougher.
And I'm not surprised. This is the put up or shut up moment when we're going into about to cross and going to lap 96. This is where it all comes down to. This is when you start getting aggressive, especially if you're kind of 5 to 15th back. This is where you got to start making your move. Try to get up there in the top 5 to give yourself a chance to shoot for a win. So we're going to see it all come down to the wire right here with these guys, and we're gonna find out who's sunk or who swims. So here we go.
Of course, about a half a lap ago, spotters over radios telling these drivers there's 5 left to go. They inherently know what's about to happen within these last 5 laps. It's about to get dicey. A lot of freedoms, a lot of lane changes, a lot of movement. Most importantly, possibly another caution. Of course, cautions will not stop until that white flag is out. Right now, Guerrero holds the dominance in the front, looking for the first postseason win for him. Now, getting pushed by the teammate, the 33 of Josh Ball, who is already advanced into the next round. And now you have Tyler Green in the 24 in 3rd, just behind is Alessi. Schroem in 5th. Pickleson down on the apron a little bit, probably got tagged from behind. Now in front of Riddle. Banky in front of Picklesimmer. It is literally down to the wire from 6th back to 10th is all up for grabs right now.
Yeah, we're not going to see anything less crazy than we are right here. when it's the second week of round one, this is where it all comes down to these drivers that are on the outside looking in. Man, we're setting ourselves up for a really good finish. There's gonna be some broken hearts. There's also gonna be a lot of smiles too once this is over with. And when we see who gets into that round of 8.
It's getting there. We are very close to it as well. Drivers now all going single file. They know what's at stake. They don't want to. You don't want to be the person to make that mistake. You know, it'll kind of go down in history as the man that screwed somebody out of a playoff spot. Right now, getting really dicey. 35 of Banky going to drop down in front of Holloway. Try to get Holloway to push him up to the front. This is an insane strategy with 3 laps to go now, too, as they cross the line this time. Guerrero still in the lead. This pack has gotten really tight here, really concise, not trying to make too much adjustments. Top line really not working right now. They are falling off to the rear of the field.
Oh, no.
Pickle Simmer involved in a wreck. Caution is out. 87
Here goes
strong
overtime.
round. We'll replay that even though we saw that live on camera right there.
Yeah, Strom in the 87 just comes down and hits the 21. I'm not sure. He didn't get bumped in the back by the 88. I don't know what happened there. He was in his middle lane on that top, and he just came low and then tapped 87 or tapped the 21 of Holloway and just comes up and just gets right in the way of the 88. Man, Pickle Simmer. I hope that those stage points were enough, and you can get back out there and try to get you a good finish. Didn't like he took much damage, but there's definitely some damage, and hopefully it won't ruin his season.
Overtime now dawning upon us for the elimination race.
What could you ask for better than overtime in the last race of round one?
Of course, at the time of the caution, Guerrero is your leader. Ball in second place. Green in third. Alessi in fourth. Banky up in fifth. Holloway in sixth. Hancock in seventh. Horst in eighth. Hurt in ninth. And Riddle in 10th. Dalton Gibson and Christian Rhodes sitting in 18th and 19th place respectively as of right now. We could also see a big change come from those two drivers depending on pit strategy this time by. Now, of course, we do have 3 green-white checkers to roll through. As long as we don't hit that white flag, we could have 2 more cautions.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a very stressful last couple laps for these drivers. I mean, it's stressful for me just watching, so I can only imagine how it feels to be behind the wheel, especially when you're under the cut and trying to have a good finish to advance.
I don't even want to know how it feels.
I did their hands are sweating. It's just, the heart's racing. Man, it's crazy for them.
Now, of course, you saw a lot of gas strategies there. Not many people taking tires. Corbett with a full set. Strom with a full set at 15 seconds. Hurt coming out at 23. Christian Rhodes still in at 30 seconds. Gibson still in at 40 seconds. Breland in at 36 seconds. Guerrero going to be the leader.
seems like they're getting some damage repaired for this stuff for overtime. 2 laps is enough for somebody to jump from 10th to first or whatever. Because man, because that last lap, there's always going to be some bumping and people will get taken out. We might not see that in overtime. You never know. Sometimes it's after the race is over when they cross the line where it happens. But I expect to see a lot of contact and a lot of fenders on the racetrack.
What an insane situation we have found ourselves in here on a Monday night. 10th caution of the night. 3 airbornes. We are officially in overtime, where a non-playoff driver is leading the race.
Yeah, and back on this caution, what a second stage these guys have had. I believe we had 2 cautions, or no,
Only
1
2
caution.
Yeah, only 1 caution.
Wow, well, them boys really locked in, and they definitely made this. We thought this race would be a little longer. They definitely shortened it up by staying clean in this second stint.
What I find insane is we've only had 8 lead changes.
Yeah, that is very wild.
Two cars in front of the leader is going to get the wave arounds now. It's going to be Guerrero on the inside, Green on the outside. As we are about to go back green here once we hit the restart zone. They have to worry. You see that Hershey Kiss car looming in 5th place right now.
Yeah. I mean, when he's in your mirror, at least you're doing something right, because usually he's in the front. So probably good if he is in your mirror. That means you're probably doing something right and you're in the front. So, we're not surprised to see these guys in front like Guerrero and Ball and Holloway in his top 5. But those 3 guys don't matter tonight when it comes down to it. It's the rest of the field. This is their seasons are, 14. He's doing the side bracket right now, the side tournament. But 33 and 21, they're locked in, so they're just kind of just cruising right now. So it's really everybody other than them that needs to worry about this finish, because they're safe. Like they're just chilling, just getting some laps in before the next round. So, and then there's Rhodes. He's right behind 21, and that's a strong bottom line right here. I could definitely see that bottom line, get a good jump with these experienced drivers on the bottom.
Well, we are about to find out how overtime number 1 is going to fare for these drivers now. 5 go home in the next 3 laps. Pace car off now. Guerrero, the control car in the restart zone this time by.
There they go.
You see communication between the teams, the 33 and the 14, both jumped at the same time there. Now they're dominating that bottom side. 2 to go. If they cross the line, white flag is out. There will be no more cautions.
You got Stephen Alessi. Look at Stephen Alessi. He's sitting at 5 right now. After he had those early downs when he was a lap down, getting that damage repair, he's up there in the top 5 with a chance to win this thing.
Here we go. Entering trial now. No wreck on the field. White flag is out. No.
Here we go.
Overtime. Holloway kind of falling back. Not enough. He won't have enough here to make a run. We got a car off the field.
Yeah, I'd advise them. Here comes some cars behind them. There's a wreck, but it don't matter. They are staying green. Binky is trying to fight for 7th place, it looks like. Hopefully that'll be enough, but it might not be. I'm not sure what his stage points was, but
Well, going into the trial over here, uncontested 33, a ball going to block. 24 is not going to get the run. Nobody home in sight. The 14 of Vicente Guerrero is going to take the round of 12 elimination race winner as a non-playoff driver.
wow, what a finish! I'm surprised there wasn't a big wreck. I'm very surprised about that, but it was nice and clean. I don't see any of the Hancock got the 5th place, so that was huge for him with him being on the just at the cut line as a top 6 advancing. So very good finish for him. Forrest right behind him. Don't believe it was enough, but you never know how these points can shake out, especially after the race. Pickle Simmer with a good finish. I think he's going to advance just because of the stage points when he finished 2nd. So a lot to digest when these playoff standings get updated.
As always, the celebratory crash out.
Always. What a race that was. They really shortened up the race in that last stint in that 2nd stage. So that was very fun to watch. Like I said, one thing I'm surprised there wasn't a big wreck on that last lap. We had a little bit of a wreck on the like in the back half of the group on the back stretch, but other than that, the guys in the front, they kept it clean. And wow, what a finish! I'm curious to know when they're going to have these chase standings updated.
Vince Service and Repair number 14 in victory lane tonight. One hell of a race. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We still have our top 3 interviews, and then after that, we're going to raid out a good buddy of mine on Twitch. So stick around for more action. Of course, Vicente Guerrero going to take the win. Tyler Green in 2nd. Stephen Alessi in 3rd. So we will talk to those 3 in reverse order, leaving our winner for last. Oh, we're not done here, apparently. We got guys driving from the wrong way. We'll zoom out of the beautiful track here tonight. I believe all 3 of our drivers are ready to go for an interview, so Let's go ahead and cut that music. Start off with our third place finisher, who is not the winner, unfortunately. It's going to be the number 8, Stephen Alessi.
How's it going?
It's going good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. Eventful year, but it's a good year so far.
I mean,
Towards the end.
I mean, 28th to 3rd after 100 laps, or 104 laps, I would say that's pretty good odds here tonight, even after 10 cautions, or 9 cautions for wreck, 8 coming in stage 1, and only 1 in stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, I was actually glad that there was a caution, so I got caught up in something in the beginning of the race. Didn't want to use my fast repair and got 9 minutes of damage, so I fixed that probably through the whole first stage, and then other than that, I was just trying to stay clean and work my way up without using my fast repair just in case something happened at the end.
Yeah, Steven, good job out there getting a podium finish. We were talking about you earlier whenever we was talking about your strategy about getting that getting repaired and stuff early in the race. And then I thought that was a good strategy, just kind of sit in the pits, go lap down. There's nobody else to lap down. I think there was one guy that was about 5 laps down at the time. Just get a full 2 pace laps for repairs. You know, no reason to rush that quick repair that early in the race. And it paid off. So what was just going through your mind, you know, on that second half of the race? Where you did you still have that quick repair, and how did that first wreck change your strategy in the second stage?
Yeah, I still have my fast repair. I was running with in the beginning of that stage, I was running with the top 15 guys and had a bad pit stop, and I lost the pack there, and I was like, well, hopefully there's another caution, and so I can get myself back up there, and I had a couple friends up there as well, so I'm like, well, if we get a caution, get some fuel and see if we can save fuel and get up front. And I was, for me, I was just once I saw that was 4th place, I'm like, well, I guess it's time to keep going. I was like, this is probably the best finish I'm going to have. Last week, same thing happened. I got wrecked in the beginning and did the same exact thing and finished 10th last week. So it's looks like it's the second week in a row that getting wrecked in the beginning is helping out. So
Now, of course, not a part of the playoff bracket, but you are a part of the best of the rest bracket. You were going against Breland tonight, and of course, you advanced across him. Now looking to see Yates or Schrom, and I believe it is going to be you and Schrom next week. So how are you feeling about, having to fight Schrom in the bracket as well?
honestly, I haven't thought about it. I mean, I think I'm still just soaking in a 3rd place finish. But when next week comes, it's Daytona, and I think we're in what is it Gen 4, Gen 6 next week? I'm not sure which one's next week, but it's back to Daytona. I know there's a lot of cautions, and I'm gonna try to do kind of play the same strategy. Try not to get wrecked this time, but maybe hang out in the back. And my qualifying's not good, so that's where I usually start anyways. So I mean, I'll keep an eye and see where he's at, and I mean, I'll just keep my strategy and see who's around me and see if I can find any friends. Maybe this week will give people a chance to say, okay, he can race up front, so let's give him a chance and let's move up front. So
Yeah, dude. Once again, you did great in this race. I know you're not in the playoffs, but it's still good to have these races and have good finishes, just because that can build momentum, not just to the end of the season, but to next season. So, yeah, man, I don't have another question for you, to be honest. It's just you raced well. Like I said, use that momentum from these good finishes and put that energy into the rest of the season. And if you keep doing this, man, you're going to be in the playoffs next season for sure. So no races less important just because you're not in the playoffs. You can always use that as fuel for the next season. And, I'm definitely looking forward to, watch you next season as well in this league.
well, thank you, and that's my goal is to build on towards the end of this year for next year, and maybe even try to get a win in spoil some of these playoff guys' wins. You know what I mean? So that's my goal, and hopefully the rest of the season goes the same way.
So now, of course, round of 8 starts for the playoff drivers and bracket restarts for you guys next week. Gen 4 cars at Daytona. Last time we saw these Gen 4 cars was in March. It was some crazy racing there too, as a lot of people weren't ready for it, and I think what is it, a 950 horsepower package, barely any draft on it. How are you feeling going back to those Gen 4 cars next Monday?
I don't really mind the Gen 4. I mean, I know it's different tracks and stuff, but I've been racing officials. Every time a Gen 4 comes up, I like to get into them, see how they race and, you know, different tracks. And, I kind of more comfortable with those cars now since I've been able to, race them more. So I'm kind of excited. I mean, I don't know how many other people race it, but I'm ready to go for it and see what we can do. I know they get damaged pretty fairly quick, so I'm just hoping to stay out of trouble and see if I can find myself up in the front of the pack again.
Now, of course, coming into this race tonight, it was expected that it was going to be a tougher battle, being an elimination race. Did you feel the pressure from that green flag drop just based off of how everybody else was driving around you?
In the beginning, I mean, with all the cautions, I thought, everyone was just trying to get up front, which, at that point, I mean, everyone's watched super speed races. You just take your time and you ride around for the first half. That's pretty much key in a lot of these races. But I mean, there was a point, in that second stage, I was stuck 3 wide for multiple laps, and I was like, all right, these guys are really going for it. And I gave Tyler Green a shot. I said, I need to get out of the middle here. We're gonna have a wreck. So I gave him a nice little, shot, and we are able to clear the bottom line and make it back to 2 wide. And we kind of just, took off from there. And so the pressure's there. I mean, I can see that the other guys they're trying to be up there just as much as everybody else, especially the people on the cut line. So, but that makes racing fun. It's I'm not in the playoffs, but to race around guys like that, it just gives you more experience and get you more comfortable with everybody around you as well.
Of course, man. Before we let you go, I'd always like to ask you if you have any shout outs you'd like to give to anybody.
Um, Shout out to ASCRL. That's with them. I came here probably I think it was back in November. So when I came in here, this wasn't a part of it. It's something I wanted to do. iRacing. I mean, I just got into iRacing maybe I think it was like 4 months ago. I told myself, you know what, I'm going to jump over to iRacing. So I built myself a computer, got here. So I was glad I was in this, in this league to see this actually develop. And just my family, my wife, they all support me in what I do, and they know that I love the race, and this is my part of life that I can do since it's a lot cheaper than owning a real one.
You're not lying there, man. Well, of course, congrats on the third place finish after a insane battle to get up to the front and hold it and avoid all the wrecks as possible, and just doing really good progressions here that we hope will definitely not only carry over to next week but carry over to next season.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You have a good
Thank
one.
you. Congrats.
You too.
That was our third place finisher, Stephen Alessi. Moving on to our second place finisher. That is going to be the number 24 car of Tyler Green.
I have been moved.
You have been moved.
How's it going?
I was about to say, how you doing, man?
Hanging in there. Finally got a top 3 finish, so kind of happy about it.
I mean, you had a really good start in qualifying. 7th out of a 30 car field is really good numbers. Of course, made your way back up in the top five where it really mattered, and then slowly progressed your way up into a second place finish. How are you feeling after that race?
Feeling put together, I guess is a good way to say it. I know all season I've qualified poorly, and that makes you try to fight through the full field, and there's wrecks to get through. But finally qualifying, I guess, towards the front, being able to stay in the front was a big part of that.
Yeah, man. Congrats on your top three finish, dude. Finishing second's always nice, whether you're in the playoffs or not. I just want to know what was going through your mind on that in that overtime. Usually we see a big wreck on the last lap involving the guys in the front, but there wasn't one. Were you expecting something to happen, or what was going through your mind at that point?
I figured it would because coming to the last lap or two, everybody's trying to fight for every position. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't. 'Cause I had just enough fuel to be coasting on fumes towards the end, and that's kind of the strategy I was running. So I was just hoping everybody was going to have to pit whenever the caution did throw, which everybody did. So that was good. But after that, it was just a bunch of fuel saving during the caution and stuff because I didn't take much fuel at all. So I was hoping for not another green, white checkered, and because I don't think I would have made it to that one.
Now, it's been a tough fought battle. Looking at this season, I mean, it's been one hell of a season to begin with, and I feel like it's inherently been difficult for a lot of drivers to slowly but surely move their way up the field and start getting some wins or top three finishes. Of course, you are in the best of the rest bracket, going up against Rainey tonight, and most likely advancing on to next week as well. Now, of course, not in the playoffs, but you are racing for, the best of the rest. Is that, do you feel like, kind of the same level, competitive wise on the track, just knowing that you have one car to beat, but of course still having to beat them?
The way I see it, I still got the full field to beat. Having one extra car isn't really a factor to me. I mean, I want to beat that car, but ultimately I want to beat all the cars. Um, it's still about going for the win, and that's what I'm trying to do for the rest of the postseason. I wish it was during the regular season too, but we're here, so we got to take with what we got. So um,
Yeah, and
yeah, I look forward to whoever they line me up with to see if I can get in front of them. Ultimate goal is to be in front of everybody, but if it's just one car I got to beat and I finish mid pack, as long as I'm in front of that one.
that's the attitude to have, man. It's always good to build that momentum for the rest of the season and for next season. So my question is, back to the race, just with these long 100 laps, sometimes more, if there's overtime. What do you do to keep your composure through these long races?
Um, Run my race. I think that's a biggie. Earlier in the season, I've never ran in a super speedway series league, so I was focused on not messing anybody else up, kind of just staying in my own lane, not bothering anybody. And then I guess now I'm at the point where, you know what, I got nothing to lose. Let's just run my race how I think I need to instead of worrying about other people. And I guess that's just moved me up. But well, that's really just knowing that I have the skills to do what I need to do. So as long as I just run what I need to, I'll be fine.
Now, of course, man, before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your night, we're going to ask you, as always, if you got any shout outs you want to give to anybody.
Yeah, I want to shout out Alessi for working with me for pretty much the whole second half of the race. We were talking back and forth, and anytime I needed to go somewhere, he needed to go somewhere, we were right there with each other. Want to shout out Josh Ball for not staying where he was when he blew his motor. When he blew it, he got out of the way. I really appreciate that because I didn't even know he blew his motor until he pulled off to the side. So I could have got a full bumper full of some 33 car there. So
Well,
yeah,
of
I mean
course,
that's pretty much I guess shout out to everybody, all the admins who make this thing possible, put it all together. I feel like I need to give a shout out to Rhodes Pickle Simmer and Sam Taylor because it seems the past 2 races for some reason I've been in a sandwich with them the entire race. So I would thank them for not killing me, I guess.
Well, of course, man. Congrats on the top 3 finish. You know, it took you a while to have to get up to this position, you know, here tonight, but with what we have seen from you all season, now clinching that second place finish, I feel like it's going to add a lot of momentum, not only for here, but of course for that first race next season as well. So once again, congrats, driver.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you.
Congrats.
Appreciate you.
That was Tyler Green, our second place driver here tonight, which means we got one more driver to go to. This is the man that has won multiple races this season so far. It's going to be Vicente Guerrero.
We got a copy?
Yeah, I was about to say, you there, boss? There he is. Well, first off, congrats on the win.
Hey, thanks, Tyler. That was fun. That was a really good fun. I mean, Ball sacrificed himself for me, but all in all, yeah, I'm happy for the win.
Now, I kind of knew that was going to happen with just, you know, watching you guys up here on a weekly basis. Once you can stack at least 1 or 2 cars, seems like, you know, whoever's in the lead at that point in time has got the win, unless, you know, it's a must-win situation or points in or whatever. And we kind of called it. We, you know, with Ball being locked, that, you know, he wasn't fighting you for that win. 14 had it in the bag as long as nobody else interfered, and you were able to drive it back home, even with a few people trying to make moves on you at the end. Now, of course, you know, late stage caution, which pulled out that first green white checkered. Were you a little nervous about that restart?
Not really. That final restart, nah. I mean, I had Ball behind me, and you know, we just had a plan and executed perfectly there at that restart, that final restart. The only thing I was worried about if you know, they build up you know, a pretty good run on us, but Ball stayed committed and just locked on my rear bumper there and drove it home and blew it up.
Yeah, man. Congrats on the win. You know, we see you up front a lot. We was actually speaking during the race, and I pointed out I was surprised you and Josh didn't start at the pole and at second at the start of the race because I feel like most of the time you guys are up there. Is there anything different in these cars that are, you know, from the other ones you drive? You know, because I know the Xfinities can be tougher to handle depending on the tracks and stuff. So what's the difference between these Xfinity cars and the cars you've used previously? Is there a difference?
Yeah, these B cars here, man, you know, there's a big difference. I don't know what iRacing did with this car, but they it's a handful, especially like if you got a pusher behind you and if they're not pushing you square or they get squirrely, I mean, you could honestly feel the air move your car when they're moving side by side. It's making you move your car. And the same thing going to like if you're sitting in third place behind the pusher, you could feel that front end, you know, getting light, you know, like it, the car is terrible to be honest.
Hmm.
But um just to you got to have a good, you know, good teammate. And we've been running together for a long time, so we pretty much um, know how it's gonna feel when we're pushing each other. But if you get to pushing somebody that you don't know, or I mean, they're being maybe a little bit safer, so they're creating a buffer zone. They don't like really pushing, so you just gotta um, be cautious there because that could bring out you know, caution. You know, you lose
Hmm.
control of your car. You could hit somebody on the outside or inside, depending if you're in the middle. Definitely, if you're in the middle lane, and there's 3 wide, and you're doing those hard pushes, and you know how squirrely the cars get. You could be ping ponging right there in the middle lane.
Mm-hmm.
And also like when if you're leading the top lane, also like and the whole pack is up there, the majority of it. I mean, it's hard because you got to stay away from that wall because the way you're pushing, I mean, you're pushing so hard the leader or something like that, just keep pace and then you could just smack that wall and create a big old checkup.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we started moving down to the mid and just controlling the mid and seeing where the runs were. But all in all, just you got to drive the car, you got to adapt to it and learn.
Now, of course, it's been one hell of a season. You guys came in about halfway through, watched the driver go in off a technicality, and now locked into the next round. And here we are with you in victory lane now. I mean, also fighting, half tonight for the bracket, of course. You got that beat, so seems like next week you most likely will be facing green for the next round of the bracket. How are you feeling about that?
Uh, Not really. Uh, Gonna just race what I do, every week and hopefully finish in front of him again. I mean, it's a good battle between him and I. I mean, even during the stage, it was fun battling next to him, and he did get me a little bit side drafted there at the line, and I was hoping to pull off that victory at the stage, but it didn't look like I think the 88 jumped out to my outside and didn't go with me, but it is what it is. It's stage points, and I don't know if they were racing for points or not, but I accept the challenge. If I gotta race against green, it'll be fun.
Yeah, man. I don't have another question for you, man. Just congrats on your win. Just use it as momentum for next season because I'm sure you'll be in the playoffs next season if you are in this league next season because you're a great driver. We see it week in and week out. You lead laps, you get wins, you qualify good. You're just an A to Z driver that can do everything well. So I definitely expect you to be in the playoffs next season. Yeah, once again, congrats. I'm sure Tyler might have another question for you, but yeah, congrats on getting your win, man, and enjoy it.
Thanks, Blake. I appreciate that, man. That sounds real good. I like that.
Yeah, of course I have one more question for you, man. You have any shout outs you'd like to give to anybody?
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, Blake, if you guys were broadcasting it, I appreciate you guys broadcasting. Can't wait to watch this one back. I want to thank American Stock Car Racing for putting on this league, all their admins for what they do. Our teammates, they're in no pasta. It's really no presta, but they put no pasta on there. So I want to thank them, and also I want to thank my wife for letting me do what I do here. My folks out in Arizona, love you guys.
Of course, man. Congrats on the win here tonight. Adding another one to the books this season, even though it wasn't for a playoff spot. Still a major win, not only for you, but for the team. So congrats once again, and hopefully we'll see you pick up another one before the end of season 1.
Thank you, boys.
You have a good one.
Yes, sir.
You too.
Of course, that was our winner of the night, the 14, Vicente Guerrero. So, Blake?
Yes, Tyler.
How you feeling?
I feel good. Surprised for sure. It was a good race for a lot of people. Some guys were left out as I'm looking at the updated standings right now. Pickle Simmer, he jumped a lot for that to them stage points. Hancock jumped like a lot of guys moved, and some didn't. So that was very fulfilling to watch. And that's just round one. We still have the round of 8 starting next week for 2 weeks, and then it goes to the 4, and then the championship. So we have a lot of racing to go, man. And as this dwindles down to the top 8, it's going to get really, really fun to watch. You know, there's gonna be emotions flaring, a bunch of bumping, and good racing.
So officially, after tonight's checkered flag, your drivers in the round of 8 is going to be Josh Ball and Daniel Holloway off in advance. Russ Hancock has made it in 3rd. Pickle Simmer in 4th. Tyler Hurt in 5th. Poston in 6th. Joshua Riddle as a two-way tie for 6th. Technically the 7th driver, though. And rounding out your 8th spot, Dalton Gibson, just close by 1 point out, is going to be Matt
Wow.
Banky.
Yeah, that was very, very close. Like I said, I'm not surprised with the guys that jumped. You know, like the Pickle Simmer did good. Hancock did a good job of securing his spot. Hurt, Riddle, they all had good finishes. Chase Greer, not well for him. I don't believe he even raced tonight, so he ended up not even participating tonight, I believe. So unfortunate for him. That's just kind of how it works. Sometimes you can't always make your races. But yeah, Rhodes wasn't able to get in there, which it looked promising for him. You know, when we seen him and Pickle Simmer and Taylor all battling up there at the front. So unfortunately, Rhodes was just involved in accidents at the wrong time. Banky missed out on by 1 point. That's when when I was speaking about last week. And even for Horst and Taylor, last week, that race mattered a lot. Because if you had a bad finish, you just had a bigger hill to climb for this race, and it just wasn't enough for Banky, Horst, and Taylor. And it sucks for them, but that's just not everybody's able to make it. Only 8 advance, and just hopefully they can have a good finish and try and compete next season. But they made the playoffs, so still a successful season for these guys. And once more, I expect to see them battling out in the playoffs next season as well.
Of course, Vicente Guerrero get your win today. Green in 2nd, Alessi in 3rd, Holloway in 4th, Hancock in 5th, Horst in 6th, Pickle Simmer in 8th, Pickle Simmer in 7th, Banky in 8th, Ball in 9th, and Hess running at your field in top 10. Of course, this point in time, live coverage has officially ended of our race. On behalf of the American Stock Car Racing League, we would like to thank you guys for tuning in here tonight. Be sure to catch us not next week. I noticed I messed up on that. We are off next week for Memorial Day. We will be back on the 1st of June for the next race to start the round of 8. So, of course, until then, we hope to catch you on another day here on the week for the Asphalt Racing Network. If not, we will catch you back here next time. Of course, Blake, appreciate you jumping in the booth and helping me as always, man.
Yeah, man, it's always a treat being able to just sit back and watch without having to be behind the wheel. It's definitely less stressful just being able to kick back and talk racing, and I just appreciate you for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate Dalton at ASCRL for having me as well. It's always a good time, and I'd like to keep doing it. So very, very fun to do.
Well, of course, as always, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to show you guys the white flag lap where Vicente Guerrero was able to take the win. Until next time, we hope you all have a good weekend or a good week, and definitely a happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, deuces, guys.
I was about to say it, Blake.